Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Grow Yahweh's Light, also known as Grow God's Light. I am Prophet One Kind here today, and I thank you all for joining me. Let us pray. Yahweh is good. Yahweh is great. Yahweh is never, ever late. Amen and amen. Today we're going to talk about death and the afterlife. When a death happens, it is a part of life. It is the end cycle of life on this planet, on this realm. It is when you are released from your human existence. And the image of your human existence stays on this realm. Your spiritual being returns back to the kingdom. If there is no justice to be served in your life, your spiritual being returns back to the kingdom. If there is justice that needs to be served in your life, your spiritual being stays with your human existence, stuck in between worlds, until justice is served. And then they separate. Your spiritual being goes into the kingdom. Your human existence goes back on this realm. When we talk about grief, which is a part of death, we're talking about G means gifting and R means releasing, I means in, E means every aspect of your, F means feelings and emotions. What is grief? Grief is gifting and releasing in every aspect of your feelings and emotions. When someone dies, there is grief, and we will talk about that. Before we get started, the Kingdom Parents has chose two people who is in an unrested state, stuck between worlds. They did not separate from their human existence. Therefore, justice was not served in their lives yet. They will stay together until justice is served. Once justice is served, they will separate and go in the kingdom with their spiritual being, and their human existence will be on this realm. That is why when you're stuck in between worlds, you're halfway in the kingdom and you're halfway out of the kingdom, because the spiritual being is still enclosed in a human existence. Therefore, the spiritual being cannot enter into the kingdom until they are both completely severed apart. They wanted to talk to two unrested people who is stuck in between worlds because justice was not served in their lives. We did get their permission to communicate with them. I am a medium, and they agreed to talk to us. It is two superstars. They are two musicians. They both were rappers. They are two African American females, and they're here to let us know they both were sacrificed. They put arsenic poisoning in their food and drink. One is 55 years old. The other one is 53 years old. The 55-year-old rapper that was poisoned with arsenic had 20 life insurance policies cashed out on her death. They were $50,000 each. The 53-year-old rapper who was sacrificed by using arsenic poisoning, she also had 20 policies on her life. They were worth $50,000 each upon her death, and they were cashed out. They want everybody to know it was their inner circle who set them up, who worked with organizations to take them out. It was family and friends, colleagues, who knew they were putting arsenic in their food and drink, who knew it would kill them over time without them knowing. And by the time they found out about it, it was too much in their system. They did not have a comfortable death. They had no control over their bowels, their urine. They became very hydrated from vomiting everything they tried to eat. And then they started throwing up blood. They are both saying that these people in their inner circle, everything they ate and drank, they made sure they put arsenic in it. They also worked with a doctor who was a part of the organization, who knew how much to put in the food and the drink, in the amounts that they can utilize with their weight to make sure it would look like they just died from being sick. If you was to do an autopsy on these two African American female rappers who were superstars, you would find the arsenic in their hair. They're both stating if they knew sacrifice was a part of a music contract for the industry, which included a clause in the contract in fine print that they could be sacrificed and everything that they worked so hard for could be taken away from them. They have a word for all of you who would like to be a part of the industry. In the contracts, there's small print that they did not see. When they get to a certain amount of money on the contract, they are to be sacrificed as an offering for someone else to get fame and fortune. They're talking to the parents here tonight. If you want your child to be famous and fortunate, then you need to be the parents, the managers, the CEOs, the contract holders of your child. Do not go into the music industry. Your name will be put in a ledger, and a date will be put next to your name on when they choose to sacrifice you. What these two rappers want you to know is if you reach a certain amount of money in that contract, or if your death date comes up, whichever one is first is when they choose to sacrifice you. These two African American female rappers only wish they had the insights of this industry. They did not know when they signed the contract that these people offer their souls to the underworld. They now understand and realize that no one can sell your soul to the underworld but the kingdom parents. They are now both stuck in between worlds. They refuse to cross over until justice is served in their lives. They received a notification that the judgments of everyone involved in both of their sacrifices is now locked in their energetic signatures. And justice will be served in both of their lives. They said they sneaked and done it behind their backs. They communicated, they set the plan up, it was very strategic. They made sure the I's was dotted, the T's was crossed. And they used them as a sacrifice for another musician that came into the business. They do want us to know it was their family, friends, colleagues, co-workers. It was people that they trusted, people that they celebrated with, people that they sat at the table with, people that they thought had their backs. They now understand that those people never loved them. They just loved the money they were making and taking care of them with. They both want us to know that they spent a lot of money on these people. But these people felt they did not spend enough. They wanted more. So they came together and decided for both of these females to sacrifice them and to take the money that they work so hard for in the contract. They're saying that people in their inner circle practiced how they would respond in their marriage, in their homes, on what they're going to do at their funerals. They're saying that they put on a facade, act like they cared, spoke highly of them, knowing that they sacrificed them for their contract. They want everybody to know that they're not comfortable being stuck half in this world and half in the kingdom. But they are willing to stay uncomfortable until justice is served in their lives. The reason why they're uncomfortable, stuck between worlds or realms, is because half their bodies in the kingdom, half their body is in the world. It is the spirit trying to separate from the human existence. I just want you to think about that for a minute. Because we're talking about the afterlife. We're talking about there's millions of people stuck in between worlds in a very uncomfortable position because they want justice in their lives. And they don't care how uncomfortable they have to be. They're going to stay there until they receive their justice. When you have a person who is deceased and they're stuck in between worlds, it is the spiritual being who's trying to go into the kingdom. It is the human existence who knows it cannot go. So you have the spiritual being pulling to go in the kingdom. You have the human existence pulling to stay in this world. They are pulling away from each other. I just want you to think about that. It is a very uncomfortable position, but it is one that they choose to stay in. Some have been there for decades. And we're talking about people of all ages, even the babies that they sacrificed, that they think nobody knows. People sacrifice their own babies. Are stuck between worlds. They refuse to cross over until they receive justice in their lives. It is worth the discomfort. It is worth trying to tear them apart. It is worth the wait. If you're wondering why our world is unbalanced, it is because millions of people were sacrificed and their free will was taken from them. We do not only have people who are stuck in between realms, you also have animals who are stuck in between realms because they were sacrificed for rituals, ceremonies, spells, voodoo, hoodoo, Santeria, necromancy. They used their skulls, bones. Some of these folks ate their brains. A lot of these folks drank their blood. And these animals refused to cross over until they received justice in their lives. Let's keep going. We thank the two female rappers that came through in the sermon here tonight. They wanted to share their testimonies with all of you. Be careful of the contracts you sign with people because they will transfer their karmic debt to you. What people don't realize is the reason they sacrifice people is to pay off their karmic debt. Let's keep going. We have 3 parts to death. The first life is the anointed spiritual being. It is life, light, and love. It is composed of the earth and the universe. The second life is the spiritual being human existence that consists of a seed, which is your parents. Your parents produce the image of the suit that your kingdom parents assign to you. There is the spiritual being, the extension of the kingdom parents, which consists of earth and the universe. Is your life line of your human existence. When the second life comes in, this is all going on in your mother's womb. When the second life comes in, it consists of human existence, the seed of your earthly, of your spiritual being. This is why people like to think they can sell people's souls to the underworld. They cannot. They don't have the authority. They don't have the power. Or the position on this realm. They have lied to a lot of people. They have manipulated a lot of people. They have thrown illusions over a lot of people. They have tricked a lot of people into thinking they have the power and authority to offer a soul to the underworld. Even the underworld knows they don't have that authority. They don't have that power. The only parents that holds the power of where they want that soul to go, which is the duplicate of the spiritual being, is your kingdom parents. There's no man or woman on the outside of you that has the power or the authority to make that judgment in someone's life. Let's keep going. Here's the third life. Death. This is why your people in between worlds are so uncomfortable. They're currently in a death, but they have not entered into the afterlife. Let me say that again. They are currently in a death, but they did not enter into the afterlife yet. That is why they are very uncomfortable in between worlds. The third life is the separation of earth and the universe of your spiritual being and the seed of your earthly parents, your human existence. It is returning back home to its authentic space, also known as the kingdom. Again, let us go over it. There is 3 lives, 3 cycles of a beginning life and an ending death. The first life is an anointed spiritual being. The second life is the spiritual being brings life to the human existence. The third life is death, the separation of your earthly parents from your kingdom parents. Your ancestors was on this earth. Some of them were sacrificed. All of them were stolen from. All all of them was taken advantage of. In their death, they left this realm knowing for a fact they died for greed. They left this earth knowing they were tricked, manipulated for greed. They left this world knowing everything they worked so hard to give to you was changed and stolen. I have been on this planet for 25 lifetimes and 57 years. I have been sacrificed 25 lifetimes. I have been reincarnated to come back on this planet 25 lifetimes. In my lifetime, currently, at the age of 57 years old, I have died 3 times. And reincarnated 3 times. What does death feel like? I laid in my bed. I took a breath. I stopped breathing. My spirit began to flow above me. All 3 of these times, I did not want to come back. The first time they sent me back, I fell on the floor off of my bed. Woke up and tried to understand what just happened. The second time, when I stopped breathing, again my spirit flowed out of me. And my spirit showed me in my conscious, me laying there on the bed, not breathing. Again, I was at peace. I wanted to stay with the kingdom parents. When they sent my spirit back the second time, I sat up in the bed. I started asking questions, what's going on? The third time, I took a breath I stopped breathing. My spirit flowed over me. I told them I wanted to stay, and they said no. This time, when they brought my spirit back into my body, it shook my whole body to let me know what just happened. It was sort of like the spirit trying to merge with the human existence, and it kind of made me shake like it was a body shock. I decided to run to the Kingdom Parents to talk about these events that happened in my life 3 times. And they confirmed to me, yes, you did die. But we reincarnated you so that you can share these experiences with the world. First and foremost, all 3 of these has happened when I was sleeping. There was no pain. There was only comfort. Even when the spirit left my body, there was no pain. There was confusion, but there was no pain. It was as if the ancestors and the angels knew what was going to happen, when it was going to happen. And they were here to confirm to me there's nothing to be afraid of. But we're going to put you through this. Because we want you to share it with the world. Nobody likes to talk about death. But death was peaceful. Calm. Comfortable. For me, it was all the 3 times of the landing. To me, was the shake-up. When the spiritual being came back into my body, that was the shake-up, the shift, the uniting. But death was calm, peaceful. To see myself laying in the bed, not breathing, knowing that the spirit of me, really of my kingdom parents, is showing me, yes, you really did die. Now we're going to reincarnate you. Took the ascensions of the universe to a whole higher level. I can say this. All three of those times when that happened, they never allowed me to completely leave the world to meet my ancestors. And I think they did that because they knew if I would have met my ancestors in the kingdom, I would not have came back here again. And that's the truth. And I have a lot of ancestors in the kingdom that are waiting for me. But the ancestors don't have authority. Kingdom parents. In regards of when I come home. But for me, the biggest part of death is when they reincarnated me and brought the spiritual being back into my human existence. And like I said, the third time when it was done, it was like the landing just made me, my whole body shift. It's like they allowed me to know, no, this really did happen to you 3 times. You're not crazy. You're not losing it. No, we did let you die. And we did reincarnate you in this lifetime 3 times. And we want you to share it with people so that they're not afraid of death. I now have a clear understanding of how those people feel stuck in between worlds when the spirit and the human existence is trying to tear themselves apart. I understand. Because, like I said, when they brought the spiritual being back down inside of me, my whole body shifted. It shook in the bed. In the acceptance of that life coming back inside of me. It is true that life is not over when you leave here. Nobody's spiritual being dies on this planet because the spiritual being is not of this earth. It is from a outside realm that is not part of this world. You cannot get into the kingdom unless you are whole and pure. This is why the human existence must stay on this planet, because it is the suit required to live on this planet. We talked about the evolution. We talked about the ascensions into higher levels of the universe. I had no idea that on this mission and journey of spirituality, the kingdom parents would allow me on this earth to experience death 3 times and reincarnate me each time it happened. You know, it's like now that I know, it's everlasting peace and harmony. Nothing but purity. I find myself when I go into meditation asking them, Kingdom parents, I did my job, I'm done, I'm ready to go home. They're like, no, you got more work to do. Remember, we talked about you helping the world. We take life for granted. And when you take life for granted, you're also taking death for granted. You're taking the afterlife for granted. If you cannot live in a life of love and light, hear me out, brothers and sisters, then how are you going to see in the afterlife? Hear me out, brothers and sisters. If you're living your current life in the darkness, then how are you going to see life in the afterlife with no light? Are you following me here? In regards of the underworld, somebody should have caught that. We're on an earthly school created in the image of our kingdom parents. We begin a life and we end in a death. Between A and Z and A, you are to follow the rules of your kingdom parents. When you choose to turn away from the rules, which is also known as laws, you have separated yourself from the light and placed yourself in complete darkness. Of the light comes the kingdom parents and your ancestors. Of the dark comes the underworld and its principalities. You have 2 sides to yourself. The light side, which is your spiritual being, the dark side, which is your human existence. Remember, whether you pick light or dark, there is an afterlife that you will face after your death. Will you be able to see or not? When we talk about grief, gifting and releasing in every aspect of your feelings and emotions. The Kingdom Parents would like for us to start honoring people's deaths. It is because they created them to come on this planet. They created all of us to start a new life. They created all of us to have a death experience. They created all of us to achieve a afterlife. You have to decide, do you choose to see the afterlife after your death? You see, this earth is a school of lessons and tests. It is all a preparation to prepare you for life and death. But we only talk about life and we ignore discussing death. Death is a celebration of the afterlife. They ended life on one round, they get to continue life on the next round. A spiritual being never dies. A spiritual being can receive many suits of image of the Kingdom Parents. This is the first round, your first mission, your first journey to understand, maintain, and achieve the Kingdom Parents' life inside of you. I have spoken in my sermons. This is the biggest test of your life and the biggest reward you could receive for this life is to be righteous in the eyes of the Kingdom Parents so that you can be rewarded to go to the next realm outside of this one. A lot of people do not understand. There's a lot of lessons and a lot of tests in between life and death. Doesn't matter if you're corruptive, doesn't matter if you're a thief, doesn't matter if you're a molester, doesn't matter if you're a murderer. Everything is strategically planned in your life. From your first heartbeat to your last heartbeat. I want to talk about something in regards of life and death. We went and stayed at a hotel. And when we got on the elevator after we checked in, the elevator took us down to the basement. And in the basement, it had a note, human trafficking. We hurried up and pushed the button. We went up to our room. The next night we came in. This person at the desk was waiting for us at the elevator and should not have been waiting. When we got on the elevator, the same button we pushed to go to the basement was the same button that was already pushed before we got on the elevator. When this man got on the elevator with us, we went down to the basement. The note for human trafficking was removed. We heard someone screaming very loud in the basement. This was an opportunity for these folks to sex traffic us. This took me back to my first heartbeat. This took me back to my 25 lifetimes. This took me back to the 3 times that I have died at the age of 57 years old and was reincarnated again. And in that elevator, my whole life was coming to me. I have heard about it, but I never experienced it. And this time I did experience it. I said, okay, Kingdom Parents, it is time for me to test the strength of 57 lifetimes of reincarnations and 3 lifetimes of reincarnations in this lifetime. After the elevator on this door did not close, because the screaming means that the person that was supposed to be waiting on the other side of that door when we got down to the basement was taking care of the man that was screaming, trying to keep him quiet so we would not hear him. He was attending to him, which means he could not be standing outside of that elevator to take me and my daughter. So the man reached over and pushed the closed door. We went to our room, we packed up, and we left immediately. Brothers and sisters, when we are talking about death, sometimes that word is thrown right in our face. And when that word is thrown in our faces, we need to recognize exactly what that word means. In that elevator, the word death meant our free will was going to be taken. That is death. In that word, death meant grief would come. from the death of our free will. In those moments when that door opened, there was no one standing on the other side of that door but the kingdom parents. Are you listening to me, brothers and sisters? It is the kingdom parents that was standing there to protect me and my daughter from death of our free will. And this is what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters, when I say, when you are righteous in the eyes of your kingdom parents, listen to me. I really want you to get this. I really do. When you are righteous in the eyes of the kingdom parents, when you're loyal, obedient to their will, when you can just look at the lessons and tests in life that they try to teach you and learn from them and pass your test, you will always receive a blessing in your life. Do you know what that blessing is? It is a blessing of abundance that is stored up in the kingdom for you. Let me tell you something. When we was in that elevator and those doors opened up, do you know that they initiated? Are you listening to me? Do you know they initiated to have that kingdom abundant bank unlocked? And they sent down the abundance into the lives of me and my daughter that night. And in that abundance, they stated, you will not sex traffic them. You will not take their free will. You will not cause them grief. 3 abundant blessings came down. That secured our lives. When we went to check out, they said, I'm sorry, but we have to charge you for this night. I said, do whatever you have to do. Those 3 blessings was worth and the amount of money that they charged me to stay there, to risk my life. So we have to look at life as I looked at this event that happened as a rebirth of life from death that was looking at me that night. I used to watch somebody on YouTube. I'm not going to call her name, but she enlightened a lot of us females about sex trafficking in hotels. She enlightened us about them putting stuff in your drinks, checking your food. She would show us her food where they put stuff in it. She would show us her drinks where they put battery acid in it. She would show us the locks that they changed on the doors, trap doors that they used, replaced so that they can come in from the other room during the night. She showed us where they had cameras in the vents over the showers, in the bedrooms, in the mirrors. I applaud her tonight in my sermon. Because she was the one that alerted me in ways that I would have never looked at. And because of her wisdom in my life, she helped me and my daughter from death and grief. We are never too big in life to help each other, support each other, uplift each other. This person that I'm speaking about has been through the ringer. She's an earth angel. She's a chosen one. She's been through it all. But she never, ever gives up for the Kingdom Parents. Today, I thank the Kingdom Parents for her. Today, I send a blessing straight out to her in her finances, in her new home, with her blessed Kingdom spouse. Because of her wisdom in regards to these sex traffickers. Ladies, you have to be very, very careful. There's a lot of hotels involved with sex trafficking. I am here to tell you, I was a witness to it. I was in it. I was standing in it. I experienced it. I witnessed it for myself. And only by the grace of the Kingdom Parents. Only by the grace of the abundant bank of stored up blessings. Am I here to talk to each and every one of you tonight? I will never, ever in my life not be loyal to my Kingdom Parents, not be obedient to my Kingdom Parents. I will never, ever not be righteous in their eyes. Because every time my life is in danger, with the word death attached to it, they send down a blessing or two or three or four. from their abundant bank. So, brothers and sisters, when you have death to your job, when they fire you, when you get laid off, when you have death to your vehicle, it breaks down, it don't work no more. When you have death to your home, you don't have enough money to pay for it. Do not sit in the darkness of it. Be very appreciative that what was in the dark, what was death, was exposed to you in the light from your kingdom parents. If you lose your job, it's time to go. You outgrew the job. If your car died, it's because your kingdom parents knew if you stayed in it, you would have died. If you lost your home, it is because your kingdom parents know they have a better home for you. Every death we experience in this world is an exposure of light, is an exposure of rebirth, is an exposure of resurrection, is an exposure of rejuvenation. When a person dies, they get rebirthed, they get resurrected, they get rejuvenated, they come back to their true, authentic self. All the weight is peeled off of them and left here. In their human existence. As they travel back to the kingdom to prepare for the next journey and mission in their life. The fact that the kingdom parents allowed that person to come into existence is a blessing on this earth. Do you know that every time someone leaves this realm, the kingdom parents creates a star of their remembrance in the sky? You will see certain stars on certain nights lit up more than others. The star is a reflection, illumination that another star has arrived in the sky. That means that person has left this world. And the universe celebrated them by highlighting them as a star in the universe. When the kingdom and the universe and the Galactic Galaxy Federation is celebrating them, then, brothers and sisters, you should celebrate them. Every time they have a birthday, you should be celebrating them. And the rebirth that they are achieving in the afterlife. I feel the experience of the kingdom parents is a blessing. When they allow us to come on this planet, to become stars in the universe, they announce us with our very first heartbeat, in the first life, the second life, the third life. We come to an agreement that the experience that we went through is a miracle. So the kingdom parents wants us to understand when we have grief after death, we are gifting the person who died. We are releasing in the person who died all of our feelings and emotions that we shared with that person through the existence of their time slot here on this planet. They made an impact in our life. And in that impact, we learned many lessons and tests from them, which helped us grow. Whether it was good or bad, it still helped us grow. to know if it was good or bad. But we grieve, we gift and we release in every aspect of our feelings and emotions to let this person know, whether good or bad, up or down, left or right. We appreciate the time slot that we shared with you on this planet. So your kingdom parents want you to know here today, when a person dies, they have free will also. If they choose to get justice, they stay in between worlds. And millions of them are currently there now. The others has went to the kingdom, went on vacation, decided to go to the next realm. This is why they can hear you talking to them. They might even knock down something in your home to let you know it's them. But once they leave this realm, their energetic signature cannot come back here again. Now, here is the icing on the cake. Every time a loved one is taken from you, whether it's your child that passed away, your parents that passed away, your friend that passed away, every time a loved one is taken from you, your kingdom parents will always replace that person with the same personality, the same character, the same ways in your life. It could be through a child, a teenager, a young adult, an older adult, but they will always replace that person in your life. Sometimes you're going to find yourself saying, "You remind me of my mother. You remind me of my father. I remember when my brother used to do that. I remember when my cousin used to do that." That's because they were sent in from your abundant bank to help you grieve the loss of your loved ones. Your lost loved ones want you to know they are having a fantastic time being in the presence of the kingdom parents and your ancestors. They're just fine. They're watching over you. They do not want you to cry over them. They want you to celebrate their life in you. They want you to celebrate their life on their birthday. That they are now living in the afterlife. They don't have to worry about money, bills, toxicities, negativity, darkness, job. They are free. You know, a lot of people, when they get to the kingdom, they don't really care about a vacation. They don't really care about anything else but getting into the presence of the kingdom parents. They sit and just watch and listen. Because the presence is so fulfilling. They just sit, watch, and listen. So let's celebrate that there is a life after death. And that life after death is in you, in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul. Celebrate their life in you. They don't want you crying. They don't want you depressed. They don't want you in despair. They want you to celebrate their life. They want you to know they are with the kingdom parents. They want you to know they did not die. They want you to know that body that was in the casket at the funeral was the image and only the image of the kingdom parents. They want you to know their spirit, the being of them, made it through heaven's gate. They want you to know they can hear you talking to them. You can sing to them. They want you to know they're watching you and they can hear everything you're doing. They don't want you to let old paradigms destroy what was conditioned, programmed, and reinforced. And brainwashed inside of you that once death occurs on this planet, that's it. That is not it. That is a lie. So your ancestors, your lost loved ones is saying, celebrate them. Your ancestors is saying, have a celebration for them. They're spiritually protecting you. Honor them for all that they do for you. They are still living. They're not dead. How could they be dead, brothers and sisters, if they're in the kingdom protecting you on this planet spiritually? Unless you burned your bridges. They want you to celebrate them, honor them, uplift them for all the spiritual protection they do for you on this planet. We are removing the word death from our spiritual dictionary and we're replacing it with afterlife because we don't die. We keep on living as spiritual beings outside of this world. I want you, brothers and sisters, to take your lost loved ones after life and put it in your life and celebrate them. Love them, honor them, uplift them. They see you, they can hear you. Don't allow what this world has consecrated as death on this planet to keep you locked in darkness when it is a afterlife of light and love gifted by your kingdom parents. I love you, Soul Tribe worldwide on the kingdom side. May Yahweh continue to bless each and every one of you worldwide. I am Prophet One Kind, everyone. Until next time, blessings.